Hello there, and we're back again. So we are after the Christmas break, whereby it's a distant memory except for the pain in our bank accounts. So as I say, we're going to start today with the big survey regarding the recycling centre and the Castlereagh News here, based on comments from people and so forth around the former Fisher site who had requested looking at a recycling centre for Dundonald. We decided to do this survey. So I have the results now in front of me, and they will be posted up for everybody to see. So the first question was, do you believe Dundonald should have its own recycling centre? 64.8% said yes, 34% said no, and 0.6% were unsure. Question number two was, do you believe the council are meeting the recycling needs of Dundonald? A yes or no answer again, and yes, 13.2%, no 66.7%, and unsure 20.2%. Third question, do you believe that the distance to Carryduff Recycling Centre is reasonable? 63%, 63.8% actually said yes it was, 34% said no, and 1.4% were unsure. Question number four, do you believe that the recycling centre in Dundonald would help reduce fly tipping? 63% said yes, 27% said no, and 9.5% were unsure. Question five, do you believe that given the rates returned to Lisburn and Castlereagh Council, that the council are failing Dundonald? 62% said yes, 28.4% said no, and 9.1% said unsure. And for the final question, would you be willing to support a campaign for a recycling centre in Dundonald? 61.8% said yes, 34% said no, and 30.3% were unsure. So there you have, those are the figures. They will be posted up. We'll give you all time to digest them. You can surely put your comments on and what your responses to those figures would be. As I say, this is not a scientific test. It's just put out there as a survey just to see and get your opinion. And as I said before, give the people of Castlereagh and particularly Dundonald a voice in what they believe should be happening within this area in regards to recycling. The other big story, of course, was around the blue bin, and I don't know if anybody's been watching the council minutes and so forth that come up on other news agencies, but this has been in the public arena. And one of the things that people of Dundonald were looking forward to and Castlereagh was the new big blue bin, 360 litres. Now, they were planning to roll that out, so they were this September before last, but due to difficulties with the consultation, it had to be parked for a year. So the council were getting ready to go again, but it has to be paused once more. And the reason for that is that the department have decided to write to the council, and as I said, at the December 6th meeting of the Environmental Committee, an office representing the council said there's a possibility that a minister may adopt a position that differs from the council's agreed position from January's post-consultation. There was a consultation that was done, a pilot scheme that was rolled out. The council official recommended that the proposed curbside collection plan be postponed until further clarification is received. Now that's basically around, although there is no assembly in post at the moment, there are, the department do have, and that is DAERA, and DAERA are actually the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs, and they have the control with all the councils, and they have in their mind an 11 model waste management for all the councils. So negotiations have to take place obviously with all the councils, but with the Lisburn and Castlereagh Council wanting to go forward with such a big bin, the department wrote to the chief executive and said, look, you maybe just want to hold fire here, but we're spending all this money on these new blue bins. So that has been paused for the moment, which I know will be a big disappointment to people in Dundonald here, particularly those who are not a fan of the caddies. I did contact Bryson House, got a voicemail, left a message, but to date no one has come back to me. If they do, I will bring that information to you as well. Not everybody would be a fan of the big blue bin. There's a campaign group called Keep Recycling Local, and a lady there has said that she doesn't believe that the big blue bin is the way forward. In fact, she believes that's a step backward. With so much focus being placed on meeting our climate obligations, promoting a circular economy and reducing waste, as she said, it just doesn't make sense. So the thing about waste is, if you think politics is bad, waste is worse than politics. You have the private people who do the collections, and we have the other side of the coin, whereby the government want to put in a residual waste facility up in Mollusk, which has been kicked into touch as well. It is very, very controversial. As I said there, you think politics is bad, you want to try getting into the waste side of things. If you're really keen and want to see exactly what was said, if you go to the council minutes of the 6th of December, all the information is there. Go into the environmental service one. The first 19 pages are about waste and a consultation report that was done. You can have a look at, even they're talking about tracking waste that leaves these shores. There's an obligation on the councils to reduce their waste going into the ground down to 10% by 2035. So there's a lot going on that's under the radar in relation to waste, and it's not the most sexy subject to talk about, to tell you the truth. But anyway, we're trying to bring you up to date as best we can. The other issue with the big blue bin would be that the bin's collected, goes into the lorry, it gets crushed, and that could cause contamination. And just on that very subject, some people were saying, why can't we share facilities? Technically, probably we have been sharing facilities, because until Ards and North Down introduced your identification before you get in, people from Castlereagh were using some of the Ards facilities. If you take Belfast, for example, people have already openly admitted on our Facebook page, they would go to Palmerston Road, for example. Now that's been all happening under the radar, and I'm sure the far side of Lisburn, the same thing has been going on as well. So while people say we should share facilities, it actually has been going on, although the brakes have now put on with, as I say, particularly Ards and North Down, who have brought in this identification before you can enter. The other point would be as well, in relation to all of that, is that whenever the councils are, I'll just get my notes here, whenever the councils are doing these things, they need to keep in mind that as you develop, and you know how much development there has been in Dundonald, major development for housing, you normally would roll out a recycling centre to meet that demand. But as I said before, the Lisburn and Castlereagh Council only have 3 recycling centres, one in Lisburn, one at Carryduff, and one in Dramara. So is that enough to cover a population of roughly around 130 to 140,000 people? And that's where we are. So just to appreciate all your comments. I want to thank everybody who gave us a like. I want to thank all our followers now. I think we're close to 500. And we'll try and keep you up to date. A lot of information I've given out there. Maybe we should have done this in more bite-sized pieces. But as I say, that's where we are. You have the results of the survey. I've tried to explain where we are with the blue bin. That has been paused. We're just waiting to see what will happen next. But we are waiting on a response from the department to the council, and who knows when that will be. But in the meantime, you just have to make do with the caddies.